News Black JM, with the news. Portugal should take responsibility for slavery, President says. Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa is the first Portuguese leader to suggest an apology for his country's key role in the transatlantic slave trade. Portugal's President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa said his country should take responsibility and apologize for its role in the transatlantic slave trade. The first time a Portuguese leader has suggested offering a national apology. From the 15th to the 19th century, 6 million Africans were kidnapped and forcibly transported across the Atlantic by Portuguese vessels and sold into slavery, primarily to work on plantations in Brazil. These are the questions that the people asking and demand and say that they need answers. Can an apology heal the harm left by slavery? Church of England admits real shame for us over slavery ties. Apologies for slavery are commendable, but not nearly enough. Slavery wages prompt hunger strike at ICE detention facilities. Rebelo de Sousa said on Tuesday that the country should go beyond just an apology, though he did not offer any specifics. The president was speaking at Portugal's annual commemoration of the 1974 Carnation Revolution, which toppled the country's dictatorial Estado Novo system. Apologizing is sometimes the easiest thing to do. You apologize, turn your back and the job is done, the president said, adding that Portugal should assume responsibility for its past to build a better future. Rebelo de Sousa made his remarks after Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, who was in Portugal on his first visit to Europe since assuming office, addressed the Portuguese parliament. Brazil gained independence from Portugal in 1822. He said the colonization of Brazil also had positive factors, such as the spread of Portuguese language and culture. But, on the bad side, the exploitation of indigenous people, slavery, the sacrifice of the interests of Brazil and Brazilians, he said. Brazil's human rights minister, Silvio Almeida, said Rebelo de Sousa had taken an extremely important step. We continue to suffer in Brazil the effects of a legacy of slavery, Almeida said in a statement. Recognizing the exploitation of millions of enslaved people for more than 300 years is a step towards moving towards a less unequal society. The Council of Europe's Commissioner for Human Rights told Portugal in 2021 that it should do more to face up to its colonial past and role in the transatlantic slave trade as a way to combat contemporary racism and discrimination in the country. It is important to shed light on the historically repressive structures of colonialism, ingrained racist biases and their present-day ramifications, Commissioner Dunja Mijatovic said at the time, noting that including such history in school curricula would be useful. Little is currently taught in Portugal's schools about the country's central role in the slave trade. From the 16th century, Portugal established sugar plantations, then the world's most prized commodity, in Brazil, using slaves who were shipped across the Atlantic from the west coast of Africa. The transatlantic slave trade became an extremely lucrative international enterprise involving all of Europe's colonizing power, with the British, Dutch, French and Spanish joining Portugal in the trade in people. Paula Cardoso, founder of the Afrolink online platform for Black professionals in Portugal, said the president's remarks were symbolic, but important as they brought the issue to the table. But, I would have liked to hear something more concrete from the president, Cardoso told Reuters. To have some impact, these reflections have to be accompanied by measures and commitments, reparations and public policies to fight inequalities caused by Portugal's past are essential, Cardoso said. There is a lot more to come. Look out for part 2 about who enslaved the people. This is News Black JM, I'm Ariel Brooks.